You stink.
It fucking goddamn.
I'm
Are we on?
being stinkily.
I'm being stinkily
Welcome
low.
to stinkily.com.
Welcome. It's what time is it? It's
8:45.
8:45 Saturday,
It's raining.
February 25th.
Yes.
It's raining heavily. There's blizzard warnings and all kinds of fear mongering
what
tactics.
season is it right now? Like Virgo season?
Is always Virgo season, baby.
Just
Let's
kidding.
go.
What season is it? Capricorn? Do you know
I don't know.
astrology signs?
I don't know the signs enough to know what season they're in, but they got me fucked up.
Why?
This rain
got you fucked up because
got me
it's
fucked up.
Virgo season.
Can't go outside. I can't walk my dog.
I mean, you can. You're
I
just
can't
choosing
walk
not
my dog.
to. And he has to poop.
Oh man. He kind of doesn't want to go out either.
I've been meaning to buy him a raincoat. Anyway,
Anyways, we'll take that. I'll scratch that.
So, okay, I'm gonna go back because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, or literally 5 minutes ago.
5 hours ago.
So people have told me or messaged me and said, I listened to this episode and I wish I could have said this if I was on. I wanted to say this and that. I have a story to say about this. So, going back to any of our episodes, what episode do you think you related to or you wanted to say something?
Oh man.
Stop.
Oh damn.
Damn.
All of them.
It's like that person that you're like, oh yeah, what's your favorite song from them? What's your favorite album? All of
the greatest
them.
hits.
Although there's nothing wrong with the greatest hits because I tend to actually like greatest hits.
The greatest hits, they're tried and true. I like the last episode. You guys are talking about creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I related to that.
You did.
Yeah, and
you know who else related to that?
Who?
I don't know if you know her. Her name is Tilo.
Who's Tilo?
Tilo.
Tilo?
Yeah, Tilo.
Who's that?
It's one of our fans.
Oh, I don't know Tilo, but shout out to Tilo.
Shout out to Tilo.
Shout out Tilo.
It's Jasmine's mom.
Oh shit, Tammy Lowe.
Tammy Lowe.
Tammy Lowe, damn. Tammy Lowe.
Tammy Lopez.
Shout out to Tammy Lopez. Used to let me get drunk.
She used to let all of us get drunk at her house. Jasmine had said that episode inspired her to start drawing again.
Her mom.
Yeah.
Tilo. Honestly, yeah, that's what it's about. I'm being seriously.
That episode was I'm being creatively.
I'm being creative. No, I love the title.
No pun intended.
I loved it.
I'm being seriously.
You know, I saw it and it made me.
No correlation.
It made me excited to listen to the episode when I saw that title.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a hard time sometimes naming the titles. There was one episode where I just put the 12th episode because I couldn't figure out what to name it.
You know, it kind of made me feel like it would almost be like fun and like cool to make all the episodes like that.
Like just numbers?
No, like whatever you're talking about.
Oh, like using the name to kind of change it up.
Make it
into the top back.
Into the top back. And you said earlier, you're like, she's British.
Yeah. I was talking about Hannah Gatsby.
Shout out Hannah Gatsby. She's British.
I was speaking in American English, and then I said, she's British.
You said on accent, though, huh?
I think I did, and I might have just played it off like I was joking.
It was great timing.
And it's funny because I'm really bad at timing.
You got me there.
Yeah, cool.
I'm British. Yeah, I'm being Britishly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you should do at the episodes.
I think when I have a rally on the podcast, we'll probably call it I'm being Britishly.
I'm being Britishly. You're talking her accent.
Yeah, she has an accent now.
It's Cockney accent.
What?
It's like
I don't know what that means.
About the people with the Cockney.
Cockney? I don't know what that is.
They're a group of people.
Okay.
I'm Being Creatively was a good episode. It made me feel the same way
Okay.
as Tilo.
You felt inspired.
I felt inspired, yeah. And then you guys had an episode before that. You guys talking about bad friends,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and not the podcast bad friends. You guys are talking about actual
Actual
bad
bad
friends.
friends.
That one I really was like listening, and I was like, damn, I'm a bad friend.
Yeah.
And I was also like, I got some bad friends.
Yeah. I think I'm a bad friend too, but not as bad
As your bad friends.
as my bad friends. Yeah.
You're like, you know what? I'm a pretty bad friend, but not as bad as these other friends.
Yeah, I think the episode made me reflect a lot of like maybe how I speak to people, maybe how I don't know.
How you do upkeep?
Yeah, I think I'm bad at that. I'm bad at checking in on people. I'm bad at
That's
it's not
hard.
it's not because I don't care.
Yeah,
It's
it's not. What is it?
I don't know.
I feel like it takes a little bit of inspiration. Like I was thinking about this for creative things, but it applies here too. Like sometimes I feel inspired to reach out to people I love,
Yeah.
and then sometimes I have like no energy to do any like, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Thinking
Yeah.
about you.
Some part of me is I'm like just socially awkward, so when I tell someone I'm thinking about them, it might be I think it comes off creepy.
I'm thinking about you.
I'm thinking about you right now. I'm taking a shit.
I just sat down and took a shit
No
and thought of you.
correlation of shit and you, but
I smelled something. I thought of you.
so I think things are funny, and then I kind of later read them. And I'm like, oh, that probably didn't sound as good as I thought it would.
I sound like a jerk.
Yeah, I sound like an
Should have
asshole.
said anything.
Yeah. So now I'm kind of just being mindful of. I think maybe sometimes I say too much too.
Yeah, you offer a little too much.
I just say too much, and then it's like I don't know why I did that. I'm
Let's
sorry.
start with the appetizers first. You just gave him a steak.
Yeah. So
And you can't just eat a steak off the bat.
yeah, I just provided the steak.
Just steak. It was uncooked.
They didn't even ask for it.
Let it cook.
They're just like, I
Let him
didn't even,
cook.
I'm a vegetarian. um, yeah. Okay, so those two episodes inspired you or made you just feel like you could relate or you wanted something to say?
It made me feel like I could relate.
Okay.
Um, they're inspiring episodes. It's just like you said, like they inspired me to think about those topics.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the creative I'm Being Creatively episode inspired me to come home and make some music at home. What we talk?
Really?
That was the last take, no?
Yeah, last
Yeah.
episode.
No, I mean the last take that we did. we were talking about that. So where did we leave off? We were saying how I've been making music at home.
Right. You know what? You got me so fucked up right now because
I
we did
got you.
so many takes that I
I
don't
know.
even
I'm like,
know
what
if
did we
we're in the
say?
right take or if it was the last
No,
take before my dad called.
this is the take. New take.
Okay, so I had mentioned what inspires you
Yeah,
because
people listening.
recently I have seen you making more music at home
Yeah,
when you haven't been doing that for a while.
I haven't. I usually make music away from home,
Yeah.
and it's because I like the collaborative process. Because I think when I do it on my own, oftentimes I go through a phase where I have to warm up to get into a like a headspace where I'm less critical of what I'm doing
Mm.
and I can be more productive. And when I'm doing a collaborative process, it kind of reminds me when we went rock climbing. Like you could either go up and just be ready, like for you're gonna have to fall, like to come down. You're gonna have to like feel like you're gonna fall
Yeah.
for a second, but then it catches you the rope. That's kind of what it feels like when you collaborate with people. Sometimes, at least in my experience, I feel like it's either gonna go really badly or it's gonna go pretty well based on how comfortable I allow myself to be.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's up to me to make
Mhm.
that happen. And there's also in a way less pressure because when it's me by myself, I have to think like more than twice about certain ideas or things because of just like what my ideal is for that
I kind of don't get like how the analogy of rock climbing. Explain.
I guess it's more like the feeling of when we did the
Like the harness?
yeah, I can't remember for the life of me right now what the fuck it's called. Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
one
the
where
you had the harness
yeah, the
on.
harness and you like latch in and
Yeah.
you step off and you can just fall with it and then you feel this like free falling feeling right before it catches you
Yeah,
as you're coming.
define that and explain how that is similar to collaborative,
So
creative.
I had a feeling when I was doing the rock climb where I was like, I can go as high as I can, knowing and prepared to have to accept that I'm gonna have that free fall feeling for a few seconds before I come down safely.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can barely scale up the damn thing and still have to deal with that feeling anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I should just what I'm I skipped the most important part about that of tying the analogy in. What I'm saying is that feeling applies to when I'm collaborating with people. It feels like I could either scale the wall as high as I can and then accept that I'm going to have to come back down, or I can, you know, pussy out and just like go up like a quarter of the way and then have to come back down anyways, and I have nothing to show for it, right? So I guess
Hmm.
that's a poor analogy.
I'm just trying to visualize it. Okay,
Yeah, it
so
just visually made sense to me in my head.
sense
I
to
don't know why.
you.
I guess what
Um,
I'm trying to compare it to is like when I'm collaborating with people, it can either go, once I'm done, I'm gonna have to accept that it's been done, whatever gets done at all.
mm-hmm,
If nothing gets done, I have to accept that okay, like I invested the time to do this,
mm-hmm,
and I'm walking away with nothing. Or I put in my all into something, and I still have to accept after that that okay, I'm done for today.
mm-hmm.
This is only one idea. This is only one project. This is one track or whatever it is. And so I'm comparing that to rock climbing because I'm like, sometimes I'll go up and I pussy out, and then it just doesn't feel as good as like pushing it a little further than that and further than that to try to.
So maybe you're saying that with your friends, you can go a little further into the process of creating something, versus when you're not going as high up on the rock climbing, whatever wall, which would be similar to you doing it by yourself.
Yeah,
I hope I'm
kind of.
understanding that correctly.
I guess yeah. So like when I'm alone,
You don't go as high.
I won't for some reason I won't shoot for the top right
Yeah.
away because I start with a lower expectation. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
prepared for that fall off.
Okay.
Whereas if I'm with my friends or people I
Friends,
collaborate with, I'm like,
you could go higher. You feel like you could go higher.
because I know my limit
Yeah.
and I can exercise that limit with others.
Yeah. Maybe you feel safer.
And yeah, it's more like the cushion of like not only like acceptance because these people have agreed, we've all consented to collaborating on something creatively, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, like
But maybe also you're using, or you guys are all using each other's energy to lift each other up higher
yeah, like we
than
build it
than you would be able to do by
on
yourself.
your own. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I've always,
Wow, I worded your words better.
yes, you did. You're my translator now. I'm gonna need you.
Yeah.
My name is sharp tomorrow.
Hmm.
Oh, Kobe, he's dropping, he's dropping bombs over here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I think that
You get
I,
inspiration from your friends.
mm, yeah, I guess I get inspiration when I'm with my friends and we're trying to create something, and I don't know, we have an idea in mind, and we're all like something about like passing an idea around and like
Yeah.
everyone taking a look at it and then adding to it or giving notes on it, and then we
Yeah.
build something that somehow we manage to cohesively produce together. Like for some reason, that feels really rewarding to me,
Hmm. Do you
and
feel similar like other men when, like, they say, like, all I need is my boys?
it's my voice. No, I don't feel like that. I don't.
That was a
All
joke.
all I need is not my boys. I need you.
Yeah,
I need Kobe.
I know, but
I need
a
my
lot of
family.
men will take their boys very seriously.
They
They
take their
they just
boys
need
very
their
seriously.
boys.
But you know what? The boys are very serious. It's all you got sometimes is the
Yeah, you
boys.
just need your boys.
Yeah, the boys they're there.
Yeah. So, what made you feel inspired to create by yourself lately then?
I'm being creatively.
Do you feel like maybe you're putting more pressure on yourself? Do you feel like,
I think I put less pressure on myself. I think I
because you know it's funny, like just from your feedback and Tammy, I was like, man, I wish that episode made me feel more inspired to paint.
I know you're talking about it.
Um,
That
or
it kind of inspired me too. That whole section.
yeah, like I don't know why I'm not inspired. Like I feel like I just have a lot going on in my
Yeah,
head always anyway.
yeah. So how do we stay inspired? I've been feeling
I'm
the
just
same way.
I'm inspired in like other projects or things that I haven't really invested or even tried out
Hmm.
right now. So
Yeah,
like I'm kind of just dipping my toes into other things other than drawing or painting or
it's tough to decide how you distribute that energy, huh?
yeah, 'cause it's weird that um I feel I'm creative. I'm a creative person, and I don't know how to explain that to people because I don't have a lot to show for it. And I don't have a lot to like, like I don't have an art piece to be like here. I mean, I guess I do, but
Yeah, you have
they're
a number
trash.
of art pieces. I
But
don't think they're trash.
like
I
I
think
just
something recent.
feel like I just don't have a lot to show for how I'm creative. Like you have all of these songs and things that you've done and I don't. Um
You
this
do have stuff. You're just being a little harsh on yourself.
I guess,
You
but
can
I just
relax.
feel like I don't have a lot to show and um like my podcast is like a thing that I can say it's like creative, but I just started it, so it's not really.
But what does it matter if you just start? No, what episode is this? 11? 12?
No, it's like 14
14?
or 15.
25? We're in episode 71.
I'm on like 15, I think, or 14.
I mean, I guess you just started, yeah, but I mean, what, relative to who? Like, fucking Joe Rogan? Like, 15 episodes,
um
14 episodes is a lot. To
I know,
do
but then like
every Friday?
one could also question like how is doing a podcast creative? But I feel like I
It
use
is.
creativity to like maneuver the episodes. I feel like I use creativity to edit the episodes. I feel like I use creativity to like,
You're like, it's not creative, but
like it's just hard to explain to somebody that's like not familiar with doing any of that
how to
how it's
see it
creative.
would be creative.
Yeah,
I think anything you do that doesn't have instructions,
it's
straightforward
creative.
instructions, is requires some sort of creativity, right?
Yeah,
And I think definitely something like this, where you're creating content, your verbal content, you're speaking, you're recording it, you're editing it together, and you're piecing something together that you want to communicate, to others, and it's your expression. So you
yeah,
are being creative, and it is like an art form, spoken word.
I guess so.
Yeah, long form conversations.
Yeah, I feel like storytelling's like an art, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure,
maybe I'm
100%.
not as
Probably the
good
original
as
art.
I could be in storytelling because I feel like I used to be better when my memory was better.
Yeah,
But
me too.
I still feel like I can build up to being a better storyteller just because a lot of my good funny memories have kind of um they're a little fuzzy now.
It's
It
all a little fuzzy now.
was the alcohol.
Ooh. Blame it on
um but yeah, I feel like I do express creativity through this form or this project in some way. It's just hard for me to articulate
Yeah, you definitely are being creative when you're being creatively when you're being seriously.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it it takes the same stuff to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It takes some inspiration, it takes some time. You're investing all this energy and sometimes money.
Yeah. I just feel like also I mean, I've told you this before, like I feel like I'm a jack of all trades, or
Yeah.
like I just don't feel like I've mastered anything because I've dipped my toes into a lot of things, but I haven't really like um been consistent
Mm,
or committed to an art.
yeah.
Um
Like to the level of mastery.
right. So I think that's why I'm really like putting it on myself to be consistent about this at least.
Yeah.
I don't really care about like too much of the business side of this yet. Because I know people say you can make this into a business, or you can, invest in it and get better equipment, or you can do this and make it better, but I kind of don't care about
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, this is more important, right? We're
Yeah, it's more just about like
just putting
being
it out there.
consistent and making sure I do this well, I edit it every Sunday and I
Yeah.
release it on Monday.
Making sure it happens.
Yeah,
Because then all that other stuff will it'll happen
it will.
net
And
like organically
yeah, and
as
I want all of this to be organic. I
yeah.
don't want all of this to be like fake or,
Like a prosumer, like you bought all this expensive pro shit and
yeah,
you didn't even like try to learn anything yet.
yeah.
But you're starting from the ground up from scratch,
And
raw.
the cool thing about this too is that I've always wanted to start something or a project from like a smaller scale um than to like start already at like a huge scale. I would say one of like the things when I look back at doing events,
Mm.
I kind of wish we didn't start off so like large scale,
Wow.
because I just I've always wanted to, like, the way I see myself building or like creating something, I see me doing it from the bottom or a smaller scale of things.
Mm.
And I don't know if that has to do with like my self-confidence or like how I how capable I think I am of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think it's important for me to ground myself and know like how to mold something rather than to just start at the top and have a really rough foundation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like you want to go through the process from the beginning.
Yeah, like let's
You don't
say
want to miss
like
any of the
in the
steps.
way that I'm trying to explain this weirdly enough is like let's say I have clay
Rock
and
climbing. Just kidding.
like I have clay and I start with just like a tiny narrow base.
Mm-hmm. What are you making?
I'm making a volcano,
Okay. A
right?
narrow base?
So that's what I'm saying, how in my head it doesn't work starting with a narrow base, meaning lack of experience is the narrow base, and then creating this huge thing that I know nothing about,
Mm-hmm.
and it collapses eventually because I don't know the foundation of it. Versus
Oh,
like a
okay.
volcano, when you have a large base there and you're kind of just building it and making it more like refined and narrow at the top.
Yeah, like the funnel.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I mean, yeah, I get that was like a long way of saying that you
I'm just
care
saying
about the
how I
foundation.
saw it in my head right now.
Yeah, like the foundation is so important to you that you would rather not start with all the pro resources or all the expert level
Yeah.
resources available when you
Yeah.
haven't even understood and mastered the foundational tools and
Yes.
how to work around things and utilize all these tools to their like full potential, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because then when you finally get to the point where you can use the big kid shit, you're like, well, this is a now I can really like efficiently use all this
Yeah.
shit and all
Yeah.
these tools and skills that I've garnered through my experience, right? My journey.
Yeah.
I I I like that too. I get that. Um, and you can see it too with the podcast, and it's definitely a good way. I feel based off my experiences trying to create stuff is like it works out better when you try it that way than when you try to just kind of like hop onto the top level before you're ready, you know?
Yeah, or even like try to make this into like, something where I can make money off of right away. I don't really plan to do that.
Yeah,
Um, and if it gets bigger and better, then I guess like that's something I will consider. But like
yeah,
for now, it's kind of just a project that I want to keep more personal, or maybe it's for like my own personal growth than it is for anything else.
yeah. I think that's important for what you're doing
And to like also just
with the content.
have a voice because
Mm,
uh when I was younger I was really shy. So,
yeah, this is overcoming
yeah.
and unlearning all that, right?
Yeah.
And it's helping and probably going to help other people, hopefully, who are listening and fans of what you're putting out. I know, obviously, I'm fucking biased, but I'm a fan. I like it. I'm enjoying it. Because it's like relatable. You're not like a celebrity or some person in a position of power or status who's like you hear sometimes these people talking about shit and you're like on popular podcasts, right?
Yeah,
And you're like they don't really understand like regular people problems or
I know.
they, they have to kind of put on this
Who's a
they
good
put a show, right?
who's a good example of that?
Who's a good example? I don't know. I mean, even some of my favorite podcasts and comedians like, who have these podcasts, like which is primarily the ones I listen to, right? I guess I'm just biased. There's plenty of podcasts to listen to. Um, and I guess I'm generalizing, but I would say the ones that are like with celebrities or comedians, sometimes they're like talking about shit, and then I realize that they haven't been in like a position we're in terms of like career and
Like who?
finances in a long time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, like Bobby Lee.
Hmm.
Don't make me call out Bobby Lee.
I'm
No, I'm just
sorry.
kidding. You're like who?
I just want to know who you're talking about because I just want to like know who. Like I'm trying to picture it.
You're like I want to see a face. Which is almost all of these podcasts that are popular. Like you listen to like Logan Paul or something or Bobby Lee or even like if I listen to like to any of the popular podcasts, at some point they're gonna talk about something like Whitney, for instance.
Oh my God, that's a perfect
That's for example.
example.
I don't want to
Yeah.
call her out because I love Whitney, but like also at
Okay,
the same
well,
time,
like
her
she's never gonna listen to
podcast,
this, so it doesn't
she
matter.
listens to it. She's like, "How the fuck?" No, no. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they start talking about shit that's unrelatable, or you can tell they haven't been in like a modest position in a long time. You know,
Yeah.
like they've been successful for too long,
Yeah.
and
And I feel like in that context of using Whitney as an example, I could say when I was listening to her podcast, I don't anymore. Um,
damn,
she I also don't follow her anymore.
damn.
Just because she's starting to annoy me. But I feel like she was starting to kind of piggyback off of Benton's story. And for anybody that's listening,
We're talking about
Benton was Brittany was Whitney's assistant, and he worked in retail for a long time.
yeah,
And he would have the best stories, and they would make Whitney laugh, and they would actually make, I'm sure, a lot of listeners laugh
yeah.
because
They're
they're just
funny.
really relatable, you know?
Yeah, and then he has like his personalities in the
And I
mix.
think she like because she's been out of, reality or normal people's lives for so long, she hasn't struggled, you know,
In a
in
long time.
financially, I would say,
Yeah,
in a
she hasn't
long
struggled
time.
financially in a long time
Um,
or been in a
I
relatable
think
position.
she just like was kind of, I don't know, draining Benton in a way, in her own way of trying to be funny or using him in her own way because she's so unrelatable now.
Yeah, seriously. Well, he's on anymore,
He's
right?
not on anymore, and I also stopped listening
Yeah, that
because of
was
that too.
yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like she had a relatable um,
Co-host.
co-host and component of that podcast, and it takes away some of the like relatability and like incentive to listen when you're just listening to someone who hasn't been in a relatable position or place in life in a long time, similar to you. Not that they didn't go through that, but it's just like it's nice to hear people who have a relatable perspective.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're saying, going back to
Yeah, she's
you.
out of touch, and there's a lot of people
Well,
who
not
are.
just Whitney, we're talking about you.
Well, I know. I'm saying she's out of touch.
She's she hates Whitney, guys.
I guess I do.
She
No,
hates
I
Whitney.
don't hate Whitney. She's just annoying. Wish she knows
You heard it here, folks.
that.
No, yeah. I think that relatability is important, and that's why I'm talking about
Being relatable.
no, it's not like how I was relating to what you guys were saying, and
Yeah.
like people were relating to it, and how struggling to stay inspired,
Right.
and how listening to that stuff inspired me to get to work on some other shit that I've been putting off. But yeah, I've been feeling more inclined to do stuff on my own at home,
Why?
which well, I go through phases where I do it, and I'll go through like a long phase where I'm at home just like making tons of stuff on my own,
Hmm.
and then I just kind of like vomit all this content, right? All this like
Do you think it's been harder? And let's just be real here.
let's be real.
Do you think it's been harder for you to do this at home because you moved in not that long ago?
Oh,
And
a little bit honestly.
we're in a one bedroom, so
Yeah. I think it's because we share this space, and when I'm being creative, my workspace is hectic,
hmm.
as you can see, like all the shit I have
Yeah.
out on the desk. And for me, and the way I process that creativity, like when I have stuff put away or I have it like because I'm so
Hiding.
yeah, because I'm so like ADHD about shit, if it's not all laid out for me to see and be inspired by it, especially because visually I need that stimulus in order to coerce me into like sitting down and being like, okay, let's attach this energy to an idea. Um yeah, it is I guess yeah, to be honest, it is a little bit more challenging to try to get myself to do that when we have limited space.
I think both of us have adjusted or still maybe adjusting to living with each other because
I think we've adjusted for the most
for
part.
the most part, yeah, I think we're I mean it was kind of easy, but in
Yeah.
in other ways it was easy, in other ways it's probably
A
been
little more
harder.
difficult, right? Yeah.
Um
But that's to be expected, right?
I
You
know,
move in anybody.
but I think also cuz when I was living at my parents, when I was living with my cousin, or in my studio, like I still had all of my own space all the time,
Yeah.
my own room,
Yeah.
actually. I always have had my own room. And this is the first time that I don't have my own room.
Yeah, it still feels like your room though.
And you, I know when you were living with your dad, you were still creating music in your room.
Yeah. Or in the
I,
garage
or in,
or
yeah, but
yeah.
I know you would leave often to go to your friends to make music, but I know
Yeah.
you were still creating music in your own room. I think it's because you had your own space
Yeah, it can be a
and
little bit more
time.
messy. Yeah.
You don't have to be considerate or mindful of
Well, yeah,
someone
that's
else.
definitely true. Like I think I do have to be considerate and present. So it does make it a little bit more difficult sometimes to sit down and then invest 2 hours, 3 hours. Because you saw like the other night, I sat over here playing for like 3 hours, and then I spent probably like another hour, 2 hours like mixing and trying to like organize what I had recorded
Hmm.
and perfect it right, at least for myself. And that process takes so long that it does become daunting sometimes because I have to prepare for that time.
Hmm.
And if I don't have the way I feel about it is if I don't have the time to make it happen, it's not going to be the quality that I intend for it to be. And so it's sometimes it becomes a loss because then I just don't I won't do it. I won't create it or I won't draw it or I won't record it or whatever I'm trying to do creatively, right?
Hmm.
Which is why if I'm being honest about photography stuff, like I don't want to do anything professionally with it, but in terms of expressing myself, photography's been like a really, which Jasmine was talking about last time, right?
Yeah.
About photography, is it's a very like relieving medium for me creatively
Yeah. I
compared to
mean,
other shit
I
I
I
do.
can say I definitely don't nearly want to be as involved as either of you, but I even like photography,
Yeah,
and I kind of always have as a kid.
yeah. You
So,
have a bunch of cameras you had.
yeah. So, I mean, it's just something that I do like, but maybe I'm not as invested in
Like
it.
technically invested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely technically,
yeah.
because
That's all it is really that
mhm,
separates the interest there, right?
yeah. I mean, maybe later on in life I might like,
Yeah.
indulge in it, but
It's like you're talking about the podcast. Like it'll happen organically if you care about it, right?
yeah,
Or
I
if it
think
needs to be
so. And
learned.
that's another thing too is like sometimes I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but sometimes I still feel guilty for not painting.
Yeah, all the time. Sometimes I can't sleep at night because I didn't draw, or because I didn't record an idea I had, or because I didn't just sit down and write an idea I had,
Yeah.
or make a note. And so I'm like constantly dealing with this guilt if I don't produce something,
Yeah,
and it
and
becomes stressful.
I just kind of because you've already seen how much I like doubt myself
Yeah, you
or
put a lot of pressure on
I
yourself
put a
too.
lot of pressure on myself. I just don't want to deal with that right now,
Yeah.
so I just put it aside because I don't think I need that right now. I need
Mm.
to kind of keep lifting myself up and being consistent in other ways.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's other things you're able to
but I
perform at.
still I still feel that guilt sometimes of
Yeah,
just like not drawing or painting and
because it's like an original love you had, right?
yeah.
Passion.
Yeah, like since I was a kid.
Yeah,
So, kind of makes me sad sometimes.
yeah, definitely. Because it's like a longing, right?
Yeah.
Like to have the peace to do it. Because, like I'm saying, like you need to have a, you have to have that peace of mind to sit there and invest the time to do what you want to create.
Yeah.
The doing part, the process is the only thing barring us from creating what's in our head.
I feel like when I mentioned it last week, I feel like you would actually have something to say when I said there are people that have skill in doing something,
Oh yeah.
but they don't have the creativity,
Mm-hmm.
the creativity to, I don't know, just like make that story or express that story. I don't know how I said it last time, but it's
No, I get exactly what you're saying. The way I usually break it down is like from a music perspective is you could be technically proficient
mhm,
or you could just be like naturally musically talented.
yeah.
And there's two types of people in all types of creative fields and crafts.
Would you say it's only two types? Because I like the last episode, I only explained in two ways. Like there are people who are just really creative
Yeah.
and they're able to express their talents through their creativity. And then there's people that have spent so many hours mastering the skill, but they lack the creativity.
I think those are I guess
That's
not that
that's
those are
what
the only two,
yeah, but
but
that's what I had mentioned last week.
yeah.
But I feel like you would have something to say about that.
Yeah, so I mean that's how I processed it is like there's people that are technically proficient, they know like theory or they know all of the terms or they know all like the academic side of it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people that just know how to do it and they can't explain to you how they made it or why they're doing it,
Hmm.
but they know how to make it so. And I think, like with creativity, you kind of have to learn to balance the two and prioritize them based on what your idea is of your creations or your creative energy, right? And I think the main the main component of that is like appreciation, because some sometimes you'll have to accept, depending on who you are and how creative you are, you'll have to accept that you're one of these people before you can become the third, which is someone who balances the two and
Mm,
took the time to learn and utilize both sides.
both.
Because yeah, like you might not be the person who's technically proficient, but you have all this, you have like a strength and aptitude for expressing yourself in an abstract way. And that's where these people that aren't creative are failing, because they're too tied to like the mechanics of things, like how
Mm-hmm.
things work, why they work, and they can explain this to you and they can show you, but they can't create something that inspires you. And I think that's really like in my I guess in my heart, when I think about creativity, what it means to me, it's to inspire and to make people feel things, right?
Yeah.
Because it's me putting that energy, that inspired whatever I'm making. It's something that I was inspired by for a second. I don't know why. I don't know what about it or what it is that inspires me when I create something, but it's usually the idea itself, and then you kind of like try to put it together the best you can, right? And you present it.
Mm.
And some people have a difficult time with the presentation, and some people have a difficult time just even putting that together,
Yeah. I
like
mean,
making
this
it
is
happen.
it's similar to conversations we've had about comedians
Yeah,
and being funny, because being funny is such an abstract,
it's a very
subjective
subjective thing. Yeah,
thing that you can be really, in for better words, I guess, mechanical in presenting a joke
yeah.
and how you're supposed to present it. But there's those people who just know how to mold a joke, and it doesn't have to be in this formula. And they just make it
It's
funny.
like jazz.
Yeah.
Like like they got the phrasing, they got the timing, they got the
Yeah.
articulation, the
Yeah.
pronunciation,
It's really about, like, I mean, yeah, all of
the
those
voice.
things.
They realize it's all these other elements besides.
And and we've heard comedians say, like, there are comics that have spent years
Yeah,
doing stand up, and they're just they're always kind of going to be there because they got the formula right.
yeah, just enough to stay in
Yeah,
the pool.
but they're just they're kind of going to stay there because they just don't have it. And there are those people who will pay to take classes to be a comedian,
To
right?
be funny, yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
kind of
it's
funny
kind
to me.
of really funny because
That's the funny part.
yeah, it is funny because you're paying to be taught how to be funny, and being funny is the most abstract, subjective art in some way.
Yeah,
Um,
humor, right?
yeah,
Well, humor is like, not only is it dependent on like the person
yeah.
and groups of people, but it's like sometimes it's geographic, sometimes it's
Because,
like,
okay, I'm not trying to like talk down to like music or art, but a lot of musicians and artists kind of know what's going to gain attraction by using certain colors, by using certain sounds.
yeah, that's true.
With comedy,
There's a lot of formulas.
there's just like such a mixture. It is like jazz because you really do just have to get everything right. And
Well, I think it depends on like what level of success you're looking for,
because
because
even, okay, sorry to interrupt you, but like, even if a person is talking about their struggle, if they don't know how to say that struggle in a funny way, it's still not relatable because you're not making it funny. You're just kind of saying how much you struggled.
as a comedian,
Like, in yeah, as comedians, some people do that. And I don't know, there's just such a mixture of how you're wording things when
yeah,
you say a punchline, when you start a joke.
like
Like,
putting all the pieces together, right? Yeah,
yeah,
because you kind of have to present it to the audience.
yeah,
You can't just like expect them to find the humor in it. You have
right.
to like really present it.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I would say like it might be actually even harder to be
Well,
to
yeah, I guess
to
so
be a comedian
because
and to be funny in general. Like a lot of people don't give funny people a lot enough credit sometimes. And I know you've said this before too, because you
what did I
said
say?
that when you were younger, because you were funny, a lot of people underestimated your intelligence.
Oh yeah, all the time.
When in reality, funny people are actually more likely to be intelligent.
Well, I would say it's just like it speaks of experience, right? Like not that someone who's not like humorous or funny is not experienced in life or in like adversity, but I feel like when you can laugh at like morbid shit or you can laugh at things that are a little dark sometimes, it kind of shows that you've accepted a little bit of that
Of
part of life,
reality.
a little bit of
And
reality.
it also
You're
shows
poking
and
fun.
says that you've experienced it enough to be able
Yeah,
to poke fun at it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And it's not that you're like trivializing it. It's just that it's just like an awareness, and it's a way to like take away power from what that is,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
return the power to not only yourself but to others too.
Who have experienced maybe
Yeah,
similar
yeah. Especially
experiences.
exactly like when you've been through some shit, and then you've experienced this shit enough times, or you've experienced it in a heavy enough way. At some point, you kind of have to learn how to like joke about it, how to lighten it,
Yeah.
how to how to release the pressures of that reality.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to laugh at it. And there's so many funny things you could say about just about anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, you can make a joke about anything, and I think
Tell a
that's
joke right now.
ugh,
No, I'm just kidding.
just put me on the fucking spot like that. I said you could. No, yeah, but it's kind of back to this topic we're talking about. Like that same distinction is also just as important, right? Because you can set out to do what you want to do, but if you haven't lived enough and you haven't accepted reality as it is to a point where you can begin to take yourself and others less seriously when it comes to like petty shit,
Yeah.
then you can get to the meat of things. You can get to really expressing yourself and your like perception of the world, right?
Hmm.
And sharing that with others. And that, however that manifests, like in podcasting or photography or art, music, cooking,
Yeah.
drug dealing.
Yes. There's an art
You got to
to
be
drug
creative. You got
dealing.
to
And I
hustle.
think that's why Breaking Bad was such a
Oh, damn.
perfect show,
Yeah.
because they made it into an art.
Yeah, and they show you from scratch, right?
Yeah, and there was something just so amazing about
The
that show.
the arc, that whole like when you take a look, I've been seeing a lot of the reels for Breaking Bad on
Really? I
on
never see
on my
Breaking
YouTube.
Bad
I see it all the time,
reels. Okay, I never go on YouTube.
and it's got those fucking TikTok songs. It's
Oh
like
God.
do do do
Wait, can we
do.
talk about TikTok songs? Because
Yeah,
I
let's
just
talk about this
absolutely
shit.
despise them.
Let's do it. Let's. You know what? We're
What
going
was
there.
that song that I came home and I was like, this is what my yoga instructor was playing and I never want to go back?
The Madonna song.
Yeah.
I wish we could play it, but
Yeah, but you might get
we
sued.
might get sued
I
for
might
that.
get sued
You might
actually.
get sued. I'm not taking no liability. Yeah, that is
I'll
probably
just blame it on Jasmine. She can get sued.
yeah, this is on her. Um honestly, I don't understand how those songs became.
Right.
I don't get it. I maybe because I'm a fucking old head now, but I don't
I
understand.
like how you keep using this term old head.
You don't know if you ever heard of old head?
I've heard of old
Yeah,
head.
an old head.
An old, yeah, I know. I can't imagine who else could be an old head other than an old person. But I just think it's funny that you keep saying it like that. Like, yeah, we're cool still. Like, it's an old head. I feel like it's,
I
old
just
head.
you're acting like an old head right now.
It's like your form of trying to take power from being old, and
It's what I used to say. I used to
it's
say it
cute.
when I was a young head.
Yeah.
I would say the old damn, that's an old head over there. Look at those old
Yeah.
ass
Okay, whatever.
heads. Now I'm an old head. Um, Them fucking Madonna song. Speaking of old heads, she got remixed, and so these songs are
She got
fucking hilarious. She
remixed.
got remixed. Yeah, these TikTok songs, and you can use them ironically too, and they're still pretty funny. Like,
Okay, but do you understand? I don't understand why
no.
they're they're like what did you say? They're fast like fast
Oh,
played
so
or
they're either
they fast
twice as fast
yeah.
or they're half as slow,
Yeah.
half the speed, because that's like like any digital audio workstation, right?
Right.
Um,
I don't know anything about that.
so that's like GarageBand or Pro Tools or Ableton, any of those like beat making or producing programs.
Mm.
Um, and like on tons of music equipment, you could always slow shit down, like the tempo. You cut it in half, or you can speed it up. And it's on record players, which is the probably the most obvious example I didn't even think of. Is like DJs would take shit and they'd slow it down,
Yeah.
or they'd speed it up. And so as you speed up or slow it down, it changes the pitch. So you get a lower pitch when it goes slower, and you get a higher pitch when it goes faster.
Yeah, but the funny thing about this is that Snapchat actually used to do that.
Yeah, they did used to do that.
And I used to love those features because
I think
it
Vine did it too.
it actually would make me crack up when I would hear a slow-mo
Yeah, it's all chopped and
of
screwed.
just me talking. It was just yeah. I would make everything slow-mo and it would just crack me up. So it's kind of funny that it's like teenagers now that are like making songs, they're speeding them up and it's like
They're like DJs.
they're just like, "Oh man, this is such a good song." So sped up and I don't know. Like
I know it's got
they're
to the
really into that.
yeah. Even artists are releasing sped up versions of their songs now.
Weird.
Yeah, like I saw SZA did one. Steve Lacy released a song
I
like
didn't
that.
realize that SZA did that. I thought some kid just sped up her song.
No, I mean it's really easy to do. It takes like a second.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't assume that she did it. I just assumed somebody did that for her. Some kid.
Some kid.
Yeah.
Like let me speed it up. Yeah,
Can I just talk about how much I hate kids? I hate
no.
teenagers. Although there is in our population or demographic of age population, there's like 4% of 16 through 18-year-old that is listening to this
What?
podcast.
Damn. Well, okay, screw all the kids except for the one listening.
Yeah, it's probably one, right?
Yeah.
Um Whoever you are, good for you. Now you know.
Now you know.
I don't hate you.
You are the one. No, fuck them kids.
Yeah, they're really just obnoxious. They think that they know it all, and I know that people when they were our age, they probably said that about us, but
Yeah, for sure they said it about us.
um but it's just because we did know it all. We actually knew the internet and we knew how to play
Wow.
outside.
We actually did know it all. We experienced the spectrum of
Of
activity,
yes, society.
society, technology. We got it all.
Yeah,
We went through all the periods.
we were guinea pigs.
Yeah, we were the technological guinea pigs for sure. Now, here we are, podcasting
Here
on.
we are, and then teenagers are calling us boomers and sir and ma'am.
Yeah, I get pissed when people call me sir.
Like, what the
Do I look
fuck?
like a sir now?
You do.
Fuck.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Or they go, ma'am?
Oh, I don't like. Yeah, I don't like when they
Although
take
no
the
one's ever
tone.
told me that, but some I've heard it from a distance. People will call it
Ma'am.
ma'am,
You're like
or
me?
maybe I've just seen too many clips of Karens that where the
Oh
person,
man.
the cashier, or
You're
someone's
ironically
like,
saying ma'am.
ma'am.
I don't want to talk about these fucking
I know, I
Karens. They
don't
piss
either.
me off. I saw one. No, I'm not gonna
Let's
say
not
it.
talk about
I'm
it.
not gonna
Don't give it
say.
energy.
Fuck you, Karen.
Yeah,
Anyways,
except for the cool Karens.
cool Karens and cool kids aside, creativity, inspiration.
Just a fun fact, a lot of women are not naming their daughters Karen anymore.
Yeah, they
That
shouldn't. It's
name
a
is on the
terrible name.
decline.
It's a terrible fucking name. And if your name is Karen, I hope you wake up tomorrow and you stub your little toe on the corner of the bed. Just, I hope you wake up and bam, smash it.
Yeah.
Smash it.
Yeah. I feel like I've met, no,
One of my friend's mom's name is Karen.
is she nice?
She's a great lady. She's a therapist. She works with pigs on the weekend.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. She's a really nice lady. But, fuck the word.
yeah. It's not a person in particular. It's more of a word. Just like a Karen is a bitch, right? That's
Yeah,
just all
pretty
it
much.
is. It's a nicer way of saying bitch.
It is. Yeah, they're just. It's it's as nice as you. It's as nice as you can get when you call
Karen.
someone a bitch to being a Karen.
It's a word that won't get censored off of Instagram and put you in the doghouse.
No. Yeah. And we know we've been there.
We've been in the doghouse with Instagram.
I don't want to end this talking about Karens. I just want to wrap up what we were saying about creativity and
Right.
inspiration
Yes. I'm
and
gonna just name this episode I'm being creatively too.
and being creatively too. Sure, yeah.
It's just easier for me creatively.
Yeah. It's hard. Keep trying. Don't
Mhm.
stop. That's all that matters, right? As long as you don't
Yes.
stop.
Okay. We're ending it.
Bye.
Bye.